Be sure to visit homeworthy.com/shop to discover amazing furniture, art, and accessories handpicked by our editors to help transform your house into a home. All of the items are inspired by the episodes you see here on this channel. Enjoy! You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Like and subscribe for more.
Hi Homeworthy, I'm J.P. Horton, and welcome to my LA apartment. I'm J.P. Horton, and I'm an interior designer. I've been living in LA for the past year, and you guys caught me right before I'm about to pack and move back to Charlottesville, Virginia. I had a design firm in Charleston, South Carolina for about 5 years, and then last summer had the incredible opportunity to work for Michael Smith, which is what brought me out to LA, and I am now making my way back home to Charlottesville, where I grew up. And I'm glad you guys are able to see the apartment before I move. I don't really have like an entryway, so I kind of repurposed an old crappy IKEA bookcase I had in college that houses my record collection. We've got coffee table books on one side, records on the other, but here I'm able to like put my wallet and keys, and I've got family photos, that sort of thing. This is a really funny photo of Barnaby when he was a puppy, and I put him inside of a Wedgwood face. This is my living room. I do have a TV, so please don't come after me, design critics. It's modern day living. But I do like to put up a screensaver when it's not in use. That's actually of Charlottesville, Virginia, where I'm moving back home to relocate my design firm of the Blue Ridge Mountains and the boxwoods, that sort of thing. Yeah, this is my main hangout space. I work in here. I have friends over in here. I watch TV. None of the furniture is fussy, which I like. And even if it was, I got everything for cheap online or like on Craigslist. So we've had plenty of spills and accidents. Barnaby was potty trained in here, so I like to kind of have pretty things but live casually, if that makes sense. The sofa I've had since college. I just had it cleaned and it's still holding up. And I actually took one of my fabrics, passion flower vine, and cut out one of the stripes and applied it to the base here to kind of spruce it up and give it a second life. The two murals here, I've mounted one. I haven't mounted the other yet because we are, like I said, moving soon. They are by Paul Montgomery. They're actually wallpaper panels. They were strike-offs for a project we were doing in Virginia and were never used, and so I snatched those up. In this room, I'd like to hang the artwork with trim, ribbon, if you will. So this is old Scalamandre trim left over from a project. In the olden days, you would have hung your artwork from a picture rail ceiling so you wouldn't damage your wallpaper. This obviously is just applied to the wall, but I think it's a fun way to kind of showcase a linear array of art. And Mario Bawada, a big designer in New York, made that kind of popular again. I think it's just a fun way to bring your eye up into the space. Here is kind of a fun object. Not a lot of people see today. It's the original laptop, I like to call it. And it is just a wooden box that you would have taken on your travels. And it opens up to a velvet-lined little desktop. You would have had your pens and quills and inks in here. You could store papers, that sort of thing, and do your work on the go. I now like to kind of take these and either use risers or have little stands made and use them as drink tables. Oftentimes you'll have clients that might have an older piece that's monogrammed, and they're fun to kind of repurpose that way. This jardiniere over here is my largest piece of Wedgwood, And it's a funny story. This is actually the second one that I've owned. The first one I had maybe a couple years ago, and I had the bright idea to use it as my Christmas tree base. I got all the decorations on it, all the lights, and it completely shattered into a million pieces. I have photos that we can show you guys. But thankfully this summer, another one came up at auction and I was able to get it and nobody bid against me. So she's back on her rightful pedestal. This chair I got when I moved here. It's kind of a fun modern touch to the room. I'd love to cozy up with a good book. It was from Craigslist, believe it or not. A gentleman in Bel Air was selling some furniture apparently. And I got it for nothing. It's a fun addition. I also got the side tables here when I first moved to town. They are inlaid with mother of pearl on each corner of the table. And there was an estate sale in Beverly Hills when I was apartment hunting, and it was the last day of the sale. They hadn't sold, and I got them for $100. And they're also great storage. So that worked out because the movers broke my side tables when I moved out here. This painting over the TV, the top one, my grandfather did oil paintings, and we kept a lot in the family that he personally liked, but he sold a lot. And when I was living in Charleston, I was at the antique mall across from my apartment, and I noticed this painting, and I went up to it and started inspecting it and saw my grandfather's signature and kind of had like a really surreal moment. And it turns out it's of Middleton Place, which is in Charleston. He was not from Charleston, but he was in town visiting my mother's family when my parents got married and painted it, sold it to a couple in North Carolina, and it wound up in this antique mall for me to find, like, I don't know, 60 years later. So obviously I had to get it. He was not a famous artist, so it's kind of like the most surreal scenario. I found the apartment online, I think through Zillow. I found the property management company, and this one happened to be kind of centralized in West LA, or kind of on the border of Westwood and Century City, because I was working primarily in Santa Monica, so the commute wasn't bad. And I like that this building is from the 50s, so we have the original oak floors, and I just think buildings from back then are built a little bit better. It was a complete blank slate when I moved in because it is a rental apartment. I think some college girls had lived here before. And so I came in with my massive collection of Wedgwood and accessories and spruced up the place. Over here we have my etagere full of the majority of my Wedgwood collection. Wedgwood's been making Jasperware, which is this pottery where it's Josiah Wedgwood's own creation of ceramic, but they apply neoclassical reliefs to it since the late 1700s up until current day. So it's very fun to go antiquing and find them all over the country. There's so many pieces and shapes that it's always fun to find. I really think I enjoy it more because of the thrill of the hunt more than anything else. I mean, I obviously use it and enjoy the beauty of it, but turning the corner and finding a piece of Wedgwood that I don't have is like ecstasy to me. Hashtag Grand Millennial. Ionic column toppers are fun. They're old plaster and horsehair. There's a really fun shop in Roanoke, Virginia called Black Dog Salvage, and they have a ton of architectural salvage and artifacts and that sort of thing, and I got those when I was living there. And they get a little bit beat up every time I move, but it just makes them look more old. So in the kind of breakfast area, it's also my study, workspace. I'll often work at the breakfast table. I've got my father's drafting table here, and this is where I do a lot of my design work, but I also have been designing some new fabrics that I've got for you guys. These 3 I did for my 3rd anniversary, excuse me. These are from the 3rd anniversary collection. I've had my little fabric line for about 3 years now. But I draw everything digitally. Got one here pulled up for you guys on the computer, and it's all printed in North America. And then, but just behind the computer is more Wedgwood. That's all the teal that they made. I like to use it as my desk accessories. In a small space, we have to use every inch. So I don't have a desk chair, so I literally just move a chair from the breakfast table to the drafting table, and we're good to go. So this mahogany break front was the biggest find I found when I was first moving to LA. I was here for 2 weeks apartment hunting, and there was that estate sale I mentioned in Beverly Hills. It was the last day of the sale, and this piece was on hold for Cameron Diaz, of all people, and I guess her assistant hadn't come to collect it, so they said it was up for grabs, and I got it. And it was before I even had an apartment here, and they were kind enough to hold it for me till I moved a couple weeks later and had it delivered. But it is so functional, so beautiful. This drawer pulls out, and it's a little desk. And this houses a lot of my overflow of books, napkins, china, that sort of thing, and then some of my museum quality pieces of Wedgwood are in here, as well as my servingware. So I've got the Portland vase, which was the original vase Wedgwood copied from Roman times that kind of started this whole Wedgwood transferware craze. This piece actually here is from the late 1700s. I got this when I was living in Charleston, that they had found from an old house downtown, and it is not even really, it's before Jasper was even invented. It's kind of a caneware with the applied grapes. But I like that it's the reverse green and white. Same goes for this guy. I found him on eBay. But they did all different shapes and colors. They would even do 3 colors. This is called tricolor, with the white base and then the green and the lilac applique. But they've been around forever, and so it's fun to collect all their pieces. I even have some of their servingware. So if we really want to get fancy, I haven't polished these in a second, so judge me. They even did some collabs with silversmiths, if you will. But I'm running out of room, so they've moved into the break front. And I had a lot of trinket dishes and plates by Wedgwood that I didn't really know how to use, like how to use them. So I put them at the ceiling to kind of emulate crown molding. So they're all the old trinket dishes and ashtrays and serving trays that I've collected over time. But it's a fun way to showcase them without cluttering tables. My personal design style is definitely more traditional. I would say it's a little bit updated. I do mix in a few modern pieces, but really it's items I've collected over time. As I said, I love to antique and hunt for various items on the internet of all places. So I think if you collect and purchase items that you love, they will work in your home and it feels more collected. I've only lived here a year, but it looks like I've lived here longer because of that. I'm not just buying items from a big box store directly from the showroom. It's all collected over time, which I think really lends to a cohesive look. There's not one particular period or style of furniture in the house. It's all kind of blended together, and I really like that process. Speaking of dinner, I do like to occasionally throw little dinner parties for friends and family. And thankfully I have a little patio out here through the living room that I just so happen to have set up for you guys. It's nice because it's covered by the balcony above. And with LA weather, you can almost eat every meal outside. But this is a collection of some of my lettuce and cabbage ware, some of my bamboo flatware, and I just love setting the table. My friend and mentor Charlotte Moss calls it everyday decorating. This is actually some of her china, the dinner plates. We've got Wedgwood jasperware in the center, some of my mom's pottery, little wine glasses. And I also learned this trick from Charlotte, to have little trinket box by your place setting for little treats after dinner. So I've got C's peppermint patties for everyone after dinner. For our make-believe dinner, let's be realistic. And then I also collect faux bois. So most of the pots out here are faux bois. This is a Martha Stewart planter. I'm sorry, things aren't in bloom this time of year, but a couple months ago it was pretty. We've got some succulents in bloom to your left there. But again, as you can tell, I love a collection. And faux bois is another thing I hunt. I don't have any of the real concrete faux bois. A lot of this is faux. I've even got a little table. This is also Martha Stewart. And that is the patio. Should we continue on? So through the back hallway here, we're going to pass a painting my dad did. So my grandfather did oils and my dad did watercolors. And this is of where we go in Maine every summer that he did one trip. So that's very sentimental to me. This piece is a preserved stick bug, not to freak out the faint of heart, but there's a fabulous company called Pheromone by Christopher Marley, and he preserves just about anything. Orchids, octopus, insects, butterflies, obviously. And this is, I think, one of the largest stick bugs in the Amazon or something. It was a birthday present to myself one year. And here we have my little guest room, which is also multi-purpose for my Peloton, the rare occasion that I use it. Since I only have one guest room, I decided to do twin beds so I could house more people. The bed curtains are actually repurposed valances from my Charleston apartment. They didn't fit the windows here, but they were a really good proportion to the twin beds. And I threw them up on the wall. This is another painting by my grandfather that we had. I didn't find it in an antique vault. That would have been even crazier. This is of Merle's Inlet, just about, I don't know, an hour and a half north of Charleston. And then I've got a little photo of my dad over there. The curtains are more of my passion flower vine fabric. I design it all digitally and have it printed in North Carolina. And I just think this colorway goes with just about anything, which is nice. I kind of did a fun play on stripes in here. It's just inexpensive linens from a department store, and just played up the stripes. Just went for it. Sometimes Barnaby thinks this is his room, don't you? You want to get up? You want to get up and show them? No? Okay. We'll cut that out. Do you think this is your bedroom? It kind of is. It kind of is. What do you think? Even my dog has a bedroom. If we go through here, we go to my bedroom. We'll pass a little bas-relief that my mom did of a fun little medieval looking tree. And here I kind of played with greens and taupes and tried to bring a little bit of the garden in. So all of the artwork, all of the patterns are florals and botanicals. This duvet cover I've had since college. It's like really old Pottery Barn, but it's held up, believe it or not. The Euroshams are a fun Mary McDonald for Schumacher pattern. And it's a collection of things I found over time. The basket over the bed is from Granada. I got on a trip. We went to the Windward Islands one year for Christmas. The screen was probably one of my best finds to this date. It was like, I don't know, $80. It's hand-painted silk. And I think it was on sale because the artist messed up and drew the buck with a female tail and then added the male tail back, which so now it looks like he has a little butthole. But it's quite a conversation starter. This piece is actually not real. It is a porcelain and copper foxglove by Vladimir Kanevsky. He is a Ukrainian artist that has garnered quite a reputation over time. And Suzanne Reinstein used to sell his flowers back when she had Hollyhock here in LA, her store. And I found this at a consignment shop. They didn't know what it was. It's even signed. And I contacted Vladimir himself, and he confirmed it's probably from like 2002. They make them a little bit differently now, but it just fascinates me how he was able to make these flowers out of porcelain. It's all over my head. The curtains actually came at the apartment, and I think they're pretty cute. They're just taupe linen. They do the job. I'm an avid reader, so I've got little tiny bookcases because we ran out of room. This is literally all of Stephen King's books because I'm a psychopath and love horror. Believe it or not. Over here, it was just a collection. I like to layer bookcases, so I've got family photos, I've got antiques. This is a fun bust from the Getty Villa gift shop. We love a museum gift store moment. And yeah, just things I've collected over time. We've got more Wedgwood in here, obviously. In the 80s, they made a brown taupe color. I think the little scallops are just precious. And they even made a really modern piece in the 2000s of the prunus flower in a chocolate jasperware. This is a bird of paradise from the front yard. Thankfully that grows like weeds here. And I'm easily able to prune them. We have a floor-length mirror that the movers broke. When I moved here, I still haven't fixed it, but we're moving again, so that'll just have to wait. The little gemstones, this was actually just like a little kit of rocks you get as a kid, you know, when you start collecting rocks. And I took it apart and just kind of made it look more antique. And then when I moved to LA, I found out how woo-woo everyone is with rocks and crystals. And so they're prominently displayed. I just think they're pretty. I don't think they heal me. And over here, I've just got some of like my jewelry. I even have Wedgwood cufflinks. I'm telling you guys, I'm obsessed. A little box my dad made. He had a massive workshop growing up, and he would take old gnarly pieces of wood and turn them into little jewelry boxes for us. Home to me is a place where you can, of course, unwind at the end of the day, be your most comfortable self. It's where I like to have all of my prized possessions on display, but still not be too stuffy where friends can't come over and enjoy it with me. I think a home is best decorated, if you will, if it's collected over time. You never want your house to look decorated and bought from like a showroom floor or something. So that's why I think my apartment kind of feels a little bit more lived in and aged, even though I've only been here a year, is because I've been finding all these pieces since college, really, throughout my design career, and they've just kind of moved with me as I've made my way across the country.
Thanks for watching. For more Homeworthy content, be sure to like and subscribe.